Soren Kierkegaard said, "There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true." George Orwell told us that in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, while Aldous Huxley reminded us that facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Lastly, Joe Class said, "The truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off." This is the news show, Whiskey Hell. Think critically. Act accordingly.
Saturday, January 20th. This is Whiskey Hell, the news show, with all the excitement and just ridiculousness that the mainstream media is feeding us. And then hopefully some stuff that you guys have not heard about, or maybe some stuff that just we know what's actually going on. Fitz, how are you doing?
Doing all right. You said ridiculous that the mainstream media is feeding us. I think what was most remarkable this week is about what they wouldn't show you. We had the editing of Trump.
Yep.
And anytime he was on air, there was just like a media blackout. It was incredible. And then the stuff they're not showing us about the farmer protests and ongoing in Germany, ongoing in France. It's like, I mean, if people aren't awake yet, if they don't see what's happening yet, that hey, we want you to see this, so it's all you're going to see 24/7, and we don't want you to see this to the point that we're going to cut it out of your lives completely. It's incredible. It's a crazy week.
Well, it really is, and we had a lot of big stuff come out this week. A lot of it happened with the WEF in Davos, which I know it's pronounced Davos. But
Davos,
nobody's calling it Davos anymore, so Sweden just needs to change it. It's Davos. Just go with it.
Oh, I can't go with Dave. Dave is like, it's just not a name I can get behind.
Dave?
Dave. So when you say Davos, I just think of like Dave, like some guy named Dave.
All right, some dude named Dave.
Yeah, but Davos sounds like wow, they must be doing some
It's
important
regal.
shit there.
They're getting stuff done in Davos.
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna change the world over there at Davos.
They're getting a lot of stuff done in Davos.
Jesus.
So like you said, Trump,
lots to talk about. Yeah,
can't talk about Trump. We are. Nobody else wants you to. We're gonna get into some stuff that's been happening around the world. Remember back when we said that the fires in Canada were due to arson?
Yeah.
Well, we've got a story about that.
We sure do.
And then we've got a ton of stuff just from the good old wild and wacky sides of online life that we'll get into. But first, what beer are you starting with?
God damn it. I promised myself I was going to have it open and ready this week. All right. Well, we can start you out while I pour this. This is from Hoppin' Frog Brewery.
Ooh, okay.
And I've only ever seen one beer from them in my local stores here, so I'm assuming that that's what this beer is. Mystery beer. The mystery beer, by the way.
Hoppin' Frog from Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who's new to the show, my first beer is a mystery beer. I don't know what it is. It's in a koozie. I can't see the label. I only know the brewery. So, okay, this is pouring a piss yellow. It has notes of, piss. There's also.
So it's a Pilsner of some sort or some kind of an ale.
Yeah. It's a.
Okay.
It's gotta be a Pilsner.
All right.
Maybe a blonde, but it's too
too pissy.
It's too rude for a blonde. Yeah. So this could be an IPA.
All right. What does it smell like?
Oh my God.
The nose?
Okay, I did not expect that.
Okay.
It's sweet. It's sweet.
Okay.
Um, hold on.
So we're talking a Belgian or a golden stout? A Belgian triple, maybe.
No, it's not that. It's not that boozy.
That's
It's
okay.
like a fruit. It's like a fruit beer. Is it the
Interesting.
pineapple upside down cake?
That would be. That would. That would be.
This
That would
is
be the sweet, and it'd be fruity.
this is like one of those situations where you're like, you paid a little extra to do pre-boarding on an airplane, and so you're sitting down in your seat already,
Okay.
and you're just watching the folks file in, right? And you're like, please just don't let it be like a Jabba the Hutt motherfucker.
Don't sit
right?
next
Like,
to me. Don't sit next to me. Don't sit
yeah,
next
don't,
to
no,
me.
please don't. And you're not sure. You see the Jabba the Hutt guy get on the plane. You're like, please don't fucking. But then like two people behind him is this like super hot like Morena Baccarin chick, like just perfectly gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
And then he blows by your row, and then she stops at your row and she smiles at you, and then she just like sits on your face. That's what this is. I was certain I was gonna get Jabba sitting next to me, and now I have Morena Baccarin sitting on my face. This is delicious. It's got to be the pineapple upside down. I'm now doing the big reveal.
All right. Let it fly.
That was really holy. What the fucking shit? You must be joking my ass. All right, so this is okay. I'm gonna take back everything I just said earlier. That they only have one beer in my stores. I've never seen this one, but apparently we have this one as an option now. This is the Watermelon Turbo Shandy. It is a citrus watermelon shandy, and I normally hate shandies, and I'm fucking loving this thing.
That's crazy because you should have caught the watermelon.
I should have. I am off. 7.22%, so it's legit.
Okay.
Juicy watermelon flavors are captured in this beer, a crisp and refreshing ale everyone can enjoy. Cheers. I mean, cheers, Hoppin' Frog. You completely tricked me. You know what this tells me, McShane?
What's
what
that?
this tells me? I first of all, I need to fly more.
Okay.
Second of all, I need to partake in more. God, we're just so heavy on stouts and stuff, man. I can pick those out. I can see those coming a mile away. This one surprised me because I just don't have a lot of beers like this. So I need more. I need more shandy experience. I need more Morena in my life, I guess.
So
anyway, yeah.
Well, you're gonna enjoy this.
Am I? What are you drinking?
The beer that I have, I didn't realize we were going to be playing the game of. Well, it was corked.
Oh. Okay.
And I don't keep a wine cork on my desk. Why the hell would I do that? So, if you heard something being hit over here, I was trying to push the cork into the bottle.
Okay.
So, as you were talking, I'm chipping off glass and shooting it
it's
all over the place.
Oh, that's not good.
I am covered in beer. But I have a beer now.
And it probably has shards of glass in it, so
So I'm going to be careful. Or, a little roughage. What are you going to do? I seriously need a towel. Like, I am fucking covered in beer.
It was me talking about Morena, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. You should have seen it. I shot beer all over the place.
I mean, she's such a smoke show. My God. She came out of nowhere, too. Like, all of a sudden, I think I saw her in a movie, and I was like, wow, who was that? But she didn't have a big part. And then she just, like a baseball bat over the head, she's in Deadpool, and you're just like, who the fuck is that? Like, out of nowhere. Anyway, I'll stop talking about her now, but please keep talking about how wet you are.
Oh, I'm fucking covered. Like,
yes,
I can't begin to tell you how fucking covered I am. I'm going to be sticky.
Good start to the show, man.
Oh, boy. All right. And this is what I get for going out and getting a really super beer. So like you were saying, trying to stay away from doing the same kind of beers all the time, right? So last week I stayed away from stouts. This week I've stayed away from stouts. I'm doing that again. So I have one. This is actually in my wheelhouse. I do enjoy these. This is the Creek. A spontaneous wild ale with tart cherries aged in oak barrels for 2 years. This is a wild ale, which means that the yeast that's being used, you don't really know what you're going to get out of it. It's going to be a different flavor almost every time. Every vintage is going to be different. It's just a real treat. So you can go ahead and put the same kind of stuff in it, but the yeast is going to tweak it a little bit. So this is by DeGard Brewing, and I'm sure I've committed all kinds of sins. It looks like it looks like it's made with cherries. It is super red. It smells like cherries. Oh. A lot of pucker. You got to like sours to do this.
Yeah.
Very dry.
Yeah, wild ales are typically pretty sour. Not always, but usually.
This one drinks like a farmhouse. So it's dry, and it makes your mouth pucker. It makes the back of your throat pucker. Everything's a big pucker, but it's not assaulting. It's not going to make you... like some sours are going to make you just like, oh my God, my face is going to scrunch up and I got to try and power through this. This is pleasant.
You make a bitter face.
Yeah, it's more, it's a dry, nearly like a wine, very much a farmhouse ale. It's super. And DeGard Brewing is excellent.
Yeah, they are. You want to know what makes the fucking French pompous though? not to change the subject.
Well, like, is this a top 10 list or?
Oh, well, no. I mean, God, that could take hours.
I have beer on my computer.
Down. I mean,
it's on my screen.
Keep talking about how sticky you are as I tell you what's wrong with the French. What's wrong with the French is the name of this brewery is The Guard, but they have to make it fancy and say De Garde. Like, what's wrong with you? Literally, farmhouse ales are the only good thing to come out of France, and French fries, maybe. But see, now those are freedom
French
fries. Now, so
yeah, they're freedom fries, so that doesn't really count.
So that doesn't even count. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disparaging about the French. They just are.
That's okay.
Just say The Guard, man.
Until we get more. Until we get more listeners from France, you can do that. It's okay.
Okay. Hey, did you know? Not to change the subject again. The CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, teaches its operatives. I guess that's what they're called now, not spies. They're operatives. They teach them not to lean on things, particularly if they're going to be stationed in Europe. Americans, apparently, we lean on everything, and I'm guilty of this. I do it. If I'm sitting down to dinner, I lean on the table. If I'm talking to my boss, I'm standing at his office door. Yeah, I lean on the wall. I lean on everything. I lean all the time. And in Europe they refer to it as the American lean. Apparently,
really?
we're the only ones that are relaxed enough to lean on things. Even in the subways and stuff, they sit up straight. They just sit there and they mind their own fucking space, and they don't lean on things. So they teach CIA operatives not to lean on stuff, otherwise it gives you away as an American. And so, fuck you, Europe. I want to lean, man. That's like a definition of being an American, is being able to being in your car, left hand on the wheel, lean into the right, and just cruise it.
Well, that's like that? That is the way to go, and that's it. That's how I drive. And that's how I am.
Exactly.
Typically around. I'm leaning into everything. I'm leaning into the show right now.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is I lean into all things, including the show. That's why we make our shit so strong. because it has to be able to support us.
That's right.
Because we lean on it.
That's right.
And you get something from IKEA, you get something from China. You can't lean on that. It's going to break.
No.
Anyway, what's first up here?
Well, housekeeping. Let's get to housekeeping. How about the volcanic eruption that's been going on this week?
Cross that bitch off.
Cross it off. If you have break out your bingo cards. If you have eruptions, volcanic eruption, serious volcanic eruption, like taking out houses kind of volcanic eruptions, which we've had in Iceland again, mark it off your bingo cards. We're going to call that one. Yep. That's the big one.
Done and done.
pretty crazy stuff.
Some more
too.
fissures opened up today. Yeah.
Oh, we had more fissures even?
Yeah, 2 more fissures opened up, and they're kind of what's crazy is they're opening up like in the middle of town. They're starting to open up. There's steam coming out now. So it's good they evacuated. I think it was a little, premature. But who of us hasn't been premature at least once in our lives? And
that's right.
Better safe than sorry, right?
And Mother Nature comes when she wants to, so you can't really.
That's what I'm saying.
I like that Fox News has disasters now at the top of their page. Like they're actually, this is disaster talk that we're getting into here.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Whatever they can do for clickbait. No, I was just gonna say, better. I mean, if you're not sure if you're gonna, be premature or not, you might as well just be, and then you can rally for a second explosion or volcano or whatever we're talking about. Anyway, yeah. So that you can cross that one off the bingo list. You know what I was thinking about earlier. I was in my head. I was like, what'd be cool? You know what we should have done is we should have made like a conspiracy theory bingo. You could call it like conspiracy thingo or something. And I was like, and you could put all the conspiracies on a card, and then when they come true, you get to mark it off. But then I was like, but we would all have bingo already, like 2 years ago.
Completely.
Like they just keep coming true, right? I mean, we already have bingo, so that was a bad idea. But I think it would have been fun if we'd have like done it 5 years ago, because even if you played Blackout, you would have bingo by now. They're all coming true.
Do we have more conspiracy theories now than we did 5 years ago, or do we just, or are they just like blatantly in our faces?
I think they're blatantly in our faces now. I think the theories. I mean, a lot of these, you can trace a lot of these back to the 70s. I mean, MK Ultra and all that, and the government denied it all the way through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And
that was true.
But we know that was true, and so I think a lot of this is Nazi gold in the Vatican. That's been proven. I think this stuff's been around for a long time. It's much more accessible for all of us now.
Thank you, Internet. Thank you, Apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have a poll that went out this week, and I'm just going to tease it.
Yeah, one of the best polls ever, by the way. Thank you for putting this out. And the results actually surprised me. Fantastic poll.
The results were pretty fantastic. We're going to wait until Hefe comes on here in a few minutes.
Good. So
as soon as he gets on, we will dive into the poll from this week. So we're not forgetting about that. I don't want to dive into Davos yet, because we are going to get a Hefe sighting here in a minute. I think that's accurate, right?
Yeah. Should be in the next 20 minutes. So.
Well, we can get into it a little bit. That's okay. We'll get into it. Hey, we've got a lot of clips, so let's go ahead and go to Tony Blair on Vax IDs.
Oh, another conspiracy theory you can cross off.
This issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is, because in the end, you need the data. You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for For vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure, and many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that. So again, you've got to say, okay, who are the people that can make this happen? How do you get the right partnerships in place? So my view is, this is what I'm arguing with that should happen in the G20 particularly, I think, which is, I mean, G7 is an important forum, but the G20 is the broader forum, is you've got to work out what is it that you want to achieve in order to make sure that any future pandemic is properly handled, and what are the partnerships that you're going to create in order to ensure that the answers you get are the right answers. And then you're going to have the mechanisms of implementation. And those mechanisms will be partly through the formal institutions that you have, like the WTO, but they'll also be through organizations like yours, which I think, you know, have many advantages because they don't get landed with the same bureaucracy and, frankly, small p politics around them. So I think, you know, that's what we need to do. But if you want the politicians to focus on a plan, I promise you it's got to be because they think in the next few years, not in the broad future, it's going to matter to them to have that plan.
So I should have said right off the bat, the WEF hosts this Davos retreat. This is where all of the bigwigs, all of the elites come together and talk about how to fix the world. What should we be doing? And this first video here was Tony Blair, who was actually at the WEF meetings this week and talking about digital IDs and having your vaccination records being available for anybody who needs them to make sure that you've been vaccinated. Another control point. We've been talking about this for a really long time, and it's just interesting that we've got this popping up right away.
Yeah, and the one thing about Davos this year that is a little surprising to me is none of the clips I've been hearing, they aren't talking in code anymore. They're just coming right out and saying, you need a digital ID, you need it for vaccines, and those who aren't on board need to get left behind. I mean, I just summed up his minute 45 clip in 30 words or less. And over and over, I mean, we're not going to play all these clips tonight because there was a lot this week that came out, but just the ones you're going to hear, they're just coming right out and saying it. They're saying the quiet parts out loud now. They don't care. It's in your face. Hey, we want control of you. We want control of your things, your land, your cars, your homes, and you have to fucking take it up the butt. No lube included. Fuck off. That's what they're saying. And it just is a little shocking that there's like no hiding it anymore. They just don't give a fuck.
No, they really don't. And one of the messages that they were very clear on was wanting to repurpose their message, make it so that it's, you know, that they're trustworthy, and make it so that their disinformation is called out, and everybody, all the peons, all the peasants can trust the leaders that are at this function. They were very upfront about a lot of things, and it was kind of amazing that they were actually going there. You're right.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not pulling punches. And by the way, it's not over. I think it goes through tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll have some keynote, ending speeches tomorrow that'll be very, Führer-esque. And for those of you who don't know, Tony Blair was the Prime Minister of the UK when 9/11 happened. And, George Bush and Tony Blair became besties. I'm pretty sure they 69'd at one point. I don't know if that's real, but that's what I heard. It should definitely be on the conspiracy theory bingo card. But either way, they were a huge supporter in, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which, lasted 20 years and got us nothing. But so he's in that whole neocon, war first, ask for permission later sort of theory of the world. And so when you hear somebody who's a war hawk like him talk about the fact that we need digital IDs to know who got vaccinated and who didn't, that's really frightening to me. And it should be frightening to all of us. It'd be one thing if it's some no-name, some bald idiot gets up there, you never heard of him, and he starts, we never knew Klaus Schwab's name before 3 years ago. And he's talking about all this stuff. You're like, yeah, go away, no man. We don't know who you are. But this is Tony Blair, somebody who still commands a significant amount of weight and respect in the UK and around the world. And he's up there saying we need digital IDs. Very frightening.
Well, here's Queen Maxima of the Netherlands.
Why? Because in order to open an account, you need to have an ID.
Right.
And I have to say that when I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one ubiquitous type of ID. And certainly that it was digital. And certainly that was biometric. And we've really worked with all our partners to actually help that being, to grow this. And the interesting part of it is that, yes, it is very necessary for financial services. But not only,
so,
it's also good for school enrollment. It's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not. It's very good to get your subsidies, from the government. So this has not only effect to the financial services. So it's a very important issue.
So building off of that, right? Building off of it, you could be chipped. Maybe it's something that's in your phone. But you're going to have a digital ID that's going to carry all your information around with you, and it's going to tell you exactly who you are, who you've been with, what's your history,
where you've
been,
what you bought,
who you associate with, what's your social standing, how much money do you give to charity, what kind of porn are you into?
Do you remember back in the day? I know you remember, McShane, but we used to. This is a deep dive. This is one of those if you know, you know. We used to have house parties at our bachelor pad, and typically, before the house party, McShane would come over to the house, and under the guise of helping us get ready for the party, quote unquote. But really, what we were doing is McShane and I would go down to the corner store, which we called Puke because it always smelled like throw up in there. We would buy snacks, whatever we wanted, chips, drinks, whatever. And then we'd go back to the house and we'd play Dungeons and Dragons in my room. And we'd just hang out until the party was starting to pop off. And then we'd shit, shower, shave, and try and get laid. That was a good, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. My point for telling this story is that when we went down to Puke and we paid the good man behind the counter, number one, I didn't give a fuck what his name was. He didn't give a fuck what our names were. All he wanted to know was, do we have the cash? And sometimes it was just like the heavy kind of cash, like change, that we would splash down on the counter and make him count. And that's all that mattered. Payment for services rendered. I wanted some crappy food. He wanted $5. We gave it to him. We left. There was no record of that transaction anywhere, except maybe on his taxes. We are quickly going to a world where all of that, every moment of your day, every action you take is being recorded somewhere. And it's being tracked. And they can say, oh, well, we know exactly where this person lives, his buying habits, his spending habits, how much money he makes, how much he spends on, like you said, porn, whatever stuff you'd like to keep under the covers, they're going to know it. They're going to know all of it. Even the fact that you play D&D, they're going to know that because you bought some dice a month back. We've joked about it. We've expressed concern. It's only getting worse. It really is only getting worse.
Well, and it's fully here, right? I mean, we've talked about it and talked about where this is where we're going. And China does this already and all this kind of stuff. But now you've got the bigwigs, the elites, who the money in the world counseling these government officials that this is the direction that you should go. So they're creating this symbiotic relationship between business, which we already know is evil. Okay. I mean, yeah. And the government. So the governments are going to go ahead and they're going to sell out into this. Now, here's another instance I will buy probably a couple, maybe $200 or $300 worth of beer during the month. What if I can't do this show now because my quota is only going to be, maybe I can only have 2 beers a week.
Yeah.
You know, I'm cut down on that. Or maybe my universal income, I can only eat, vegan. I can't buy protein.
I guarantee you,
I can't buy meat.
Universal income isn't going to cover your beer.
Oh, no.
It's not, no way. I mean, or what if, like, let's take it to a really weird place. What if the beer you just picked up and you're holding in your hand and it's a 10.5%er, you can't wait to dig in.
Yep.
But the brewery who brewed the beer doesn't have a robust enough DEI department, and so you get taxed double on that beer. So now it goes from a $10.50 beer to a $22 beer.
Yep.
And it's not worth it.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of sophistication that they're talking about.
Or this city, you can only buy up to 5.5%. You can't buy a 12%er.
Right. Yeah.
It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched.
No. And a comment from Beard, the shutoff switches in cars. Yes. And I'll take that a step further. And I guess we can put this one on conspiracy thingo. Your body is just an electrical system. If they want to shut you down, I mean, if you put something in your brain, in your eye, under your skin, if they want to shut you down, you will just be a car to them. They'll just be like, inmate 47381, he's mouthing off again, shut him down. And that's it. No more inmate 47381. That's it. You're in a hole in the ground, or you become Soylent Green. You're now food for the other inmates.
That could never. Oh, wait, look, let's listen to this. Here's Klaus.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Advancing very fast. But can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think I think you can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some very long age.
Advancing very fast. But can you
speak to live forever in a digital realm? You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to be sort of transplanted into the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some very long age.
So here, Klaus Schwab, who is a Bond villain, is talking about putting in chips in your head. To your point before we played that clip, why you could totally have a kill switch.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Yeah. You know what I just watched the other night, because we had a fucking terrible ice storm here, by the way. There's still ice on the ground outside, but so we were pretty much trapped in our homes for about 4 days. And so I not that I was desperate, but I just wanted to go back and watch. I watched all the Mission Impossible movies, from 1 all the way to whatever, Dead Reckoning, the last one. And in number 3, there's a chip that the bad guy played by God damn it, I swear I wouldn't forget his name. Anyway, fabulous actor, passed away, but there was a chip that he inserted, and if you didn't get it disarmed soon enough, it just exploded in your brain, and that was it. You're gone. You're done. I mean, that's a really crude way to do it, but I think more sophisticated and kind of what he's talking about, just shut him down. Just stop his electrical circuit. Just short it out. It's very easy to do.
And he's talking about feeding and monitoring almost like a voting system.
Right.
Where he's talking and then he's monitoring the audience. That's just creepy stuff. And I know we get into futurism. I get it. Yes, technology. And just because you can do some stuff doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, but they're going to. They're doing it.
Well, let's go here next. Here's Klaus again.
Digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
So he's talking about using AI and the predictive power of it. And that's Sergey Brin, one of the heads for it's an AI corporation. I can't remember which one it is. It might be OpenAI. But so, and what he's talking about here is using the analytical power of AI and making it so that it doesn't matter what you want. They're going to go ahead and use its predictive power to go ahead and say, well, yeah, you were going to vote for Biden, so Biden's the new president. There's some really creepy shit that's coming out of there this year.
And you know, this is 2024. Like, at what point do they say, okay, now we have enough control? Now we can influence the way they vote. We can influence their financial situation. We can probably even influence, well, they are influencing what we see and what we don't see. So where do they stop exactly? Like, at what point is enough control? Like, I mean, it's basically a fucking shock collar on us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And you know what? We have a Hefe sighting. Let's welcome our good friend Hefe. Hefe, what's going on, man?
Oh, living the dream. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. I
mean, yeah, same.
We got some good beers here. Opened mine without the use of a wine opener. You'll have to listen and
okay
how that went.
Steve went Saxon on the beer bottle.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they turned my 2 balls into a 4 ball. So I might not make it on again. It's going to be
it's painful.
It's going to be 10:20 before my next break.
Can you imagine what you do with 4 balls though?
Really painful.
I sit down a lot.
Or you have to.
Probably couldn't sit down.
I mean, if I had 4 and they were like all as big as the ones I have now, I would hire myself out to plow fields. You know what I mean? Just be like a draft horse and just plow fields. I'm just gonna let that one hang. I'll see myself out.
All right, so we're not guaranteed that we're gonna get Hefe back. We've got to get to this one.
Oh yeah, yes, for sure. Let's hit it.
Now the setup is that you found this really disturbing ghost video where this guy is in his apartment and the damn thing just starts pounding on the wall or pounding on the door. And then you go and you look in the closet where the pounding's coming from and there's nothing there. Puts up a camera, the door opens on its own. I mean, really weird stuff. So that kind of led to, I don't know. I put 2 and 4 together and got 29 and came up with this poll for us to go and throw out online. And surprisingly enough, we got a lot of action on it. 71 votes. Would you try to have sex with a ghost who was haunting you, quote unquote, haunting you? And the caveat was supposing it met your flavor, right? And you could figure out how to get it on and it was into it. 67.6% of our audience said yes, they would fuck a ghost.
Okay, my initial thought, of course, yes. I mean, that's free sex. You're not going to turn that down. But if shit goes south, I mean, that'd be the worst breakup ever, right?
Oh my
Good
gosh. I didn't even
Well,
think of
especially
that.
Especially that particular poltergeist, because that's what we're talking about here. The thing was banging on the closet door.
Yeah.
He'd open the door and nothing, and I mean, it would scare him at all hours of the night. And it was obviously looking for attention. And I'm not lumping women into a group or anything, but I'm just saying, certain people, I'll just say people who are looking for attention that way often make, really annoying, like they're the worst breakups, right? Because it's like you wanted attention when we were together, but then when we break up, you want even more of my attention. We've all been there, and it's terrible. So to your point, Hefe, I think that's a really great point. You gotta think about the end of this relationship, not just the free sex.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could never be with somebody else. You talk about stalker girlfriends, ex-girlfriends. That would suck really bad.
All right, you
There's
guys
always
are
be
kind
a-
of changing my mind on it. You guys are kind of scaring the crap out of me now. Because I was like all in before. I wasn't even thinking about like, I don't want to have a relationship with you. We're just banging.
No.
That's
Yeah.
No, I mean, I actually, McShane, I'm with you. I'm just sort of corroborating Hefe is being an evaluator. He's thinking into the future. My gut reaction was, yeah, basically I will fuck anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it feels good, let's do it again. And plus I'm not going to say it's on my bucket list, but like, I mean, imagine the next time the three of us get together in Vegas and I'm like, by the way, guys, I've been having an affair and it's with my poltergeist. Like she knocks on my walls at night. I get up. We do the nasty. I have to clean everything up, but otherwise it's great. And we go about our business. Like that would be a fucking killer story.
The Ghostbuster references in our chat. You guys can join us if you join the Patreon. You guys can join the chat. Ectoplasm shots all over everything. Thank you, Beard. He slimed me, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Don't cross the streams. Mike and Tabby are here, by the way, now. Calliope, the ghosts have probably seen you do some stuff. Okay. That's okay. That's
You know what?
What's that?
The thing I didn't think of till just now is, given my history, I'd probably knock the thing.
Say that again. Given your history, what?
Given my history, I'd probably get the fucking thing pregnant.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Oh,
That's
what
a
would
whole
that
other-
even? Yeah.
That's a whole other.
And I mean, like, do you pay taxes on that kid? Or do you get the write-off? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that,
Wow.
You need to claim this.
That's a whole new dimension, dude. Like, that's having a mixed race child, and that's taking it to a whole other level. Like, because you don't even know what race the ghost was or is that you're. I mean, wow.
Persuasion.
That's incredible.
That's fantastic.
I was just more of thinking like a handy or, like oral or something. Like I wasn't even thinking about it could get pregnant from me. What the hell?
yeah.
Calliope, the ghost in my call room seems to come and less toilet flushing when I do things or ask it to get in bed with me.
Wow. That sounds, I think we need more behind that backstory. That sounds fun.
Yep. Please feel free to reach out and let us know how that works.
And
a half ghost Hefe spawned. Okay.
Yeah. No,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then from the Greys, there is no boner, only Zool. Great reference. Oh, shit.
Well, that all depends. Will the ghost wear protection? I don't know who the ghost dick is haunting before me. That's another good call. We got a ton of different. Let's see here. Jason Burke, the Jay Burke show. In theory, this sounds good because, well, I'm a dude. But then I realize I can't even sneak off to the bathroom for some peace and quiet.
Oh, that's true. You can't even watch porn in private because you never know when that thing's going to be watching you.
No, as soon as you get a hard on, it's going to jump on you.
Yeah, if you're watching porn, then it's thinking, oh, I'm not good enough for you? Well,
yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold my beer.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. 71 respondents. You guys were great, and we appreciate you guys chiming in. That was fun for this week. A little levity with all the other garbage that's been going on, so that was cool. Hefe, we were talking about basically the New World Order and what was going on in Davos. Did you have any anything you wanted to share on that, or were you just kind of, this is just fucked?
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Are you all in?
Are you?
Can't wait. Yep. The brain implants where we don't have to talk to each other, we just look at each other or whatever. That's exciting. Can't wait for that.
We just played that clip where Klaus was like, "Oh, I've got my implant and you have your implant, and then we can all look around the room and know what each other is thinking." Yeah, that's great.
That was really good.
That was really good.
Thanks.
We need more Klaus from you. You need to.
I could not have done that a beer ago, but I've had just enough in me that it came out okay. Yeah, I mean, what? I don't want to know what everybody else is thinking. I certainly don't want them to know what I'm thinking.
Right? Yeah.
That would be a nightmare. Every girl that walks in, I'm like, I mean, it would be bad either way. I'd be like, yes, I definitely would, or no, I fucking no way I wouldn't. Like, which one would be worse? Or if I was like, maybe after 2 beers, like, what? I don't want you to know what I'm thinking. And that's literally every dude in here. You all have to admit, we all have those thoughts. We shouldn't, but we do.
But here we are.
And here we are. Yeah. And all of us was born because some dude somewhere was like, I would. And they did, and you got born.
Yep.
So the one of the big impacts of this this conference that comes up, besides all the elites coming in and all their planes and all this kind of stuff, all the prostitutes are taken. Apparently, this is a huge draw for prostitutes, and it's like $25,000 a night. And they come in and they pick up their prostitute for the week, little girlfriend action, and it's a huge boon for business over there.
So you're telling me, for the price of a small sedan, I could have sex with a whore?
Correct.
Tomato.
I am saving up right now. Let's do it.
I have a small sedan.
That's yes, you do.
But
do you have a whore? Oh, this Calliope just asked. This was in Davos at the World Economic Forum.
In Sweden.
Sweden.
Switzerland.
All of the sex workers. You're gonna just keep switching the country on me?
It's
all the sex workers from all the best ones from all over the world all went to Davos because, that's where all the rich people are. And they're all, apparently they all cheat on their loved ones. And so they all are, having sex orgies and talking about how they want to control us all. But that's where it was Davos.
No, I got to go.
All right, man. Well, hopefully your 2 balls don't turn into 4 balls, and we can get you back. But if it does, have a good night, and next week.
All right, sounds good. See you guys
later.
So anyway, that's one of the interesting byproducts that have come from this. There's been other stuff too. The new president of Argentina, shit all over the WEF.
Oh my God. Yeah,
it was absolutely beautiful.
Couple of guys showed up. Milei showed up, and then there was another guy today, or maybe it was yesterday, who got up there and he was like, hey, you want to know what's wrong with the world? It's all of you people. You fucking idiots are what's wrong with the world. He went off too. So there's been a couple people that got invited, and I don't know why they thought Milei would show up and be part of the, that he would just jump on board and drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, this guy. Who is he?
Let me play this. Let me see if we've got. I want a larger clip.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would, describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. It's equally,
standing up for it.
It's equally laughable to use the word dictatorship at Davos and aim that at President Trump. In fact, I think that's absurd. But I'm going to step aside from that constructive criticism and instead answer your question.
Yep.
And I'm going to be substantive here. President Trump, if he's the next president, for that matter, I think whoever the next conservative president, is going to take on the power of the elites, which I mentioned earlier. But the thing that I want to drive home here, the very reason that I'm here at Davos, is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that you're part of the problem. Political elites tell the average people on 3 or 4 or 5 issues that the reality is X, when in fact reality is Y. Take immigration. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. They're right. President Trump will take that on behalf of the average American. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. President Trump will take that on. Thirdly, I guess the favorite at the World Economic Forum is climate change. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change, so much so that climate alarmism is probably the greatest cause for mental health crisis in the world. The solutions, the average person know, based on climate change are far worse and more harmful and cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. Fourth, 2 more here, Robin. Okay. The fourth, China. The number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. Count on President Trump ending that nonsense. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. And it's connected to Senator Portman's excellent point that in addition to needing a vigorous executive, we look forward to having the popular will inform both the House and Senate in 2025 to pass laws on all of those issues and many others. Ultimately, Robin, I think President Trump, if in fact he wins a second term, is going to be inspired by the wise words of Javier Milei, who said that he was in power not to guide sheep, but to awaken lions. That's what the average American and the average free person on planet Earth wants out of leaders.
And I think that is exactly what the WEF is worried about. They're worried about the populace waking up. Yep. So all that crap that we've already just looked at, well, we've already talked about, that is the problem for them. People aren't buying their bullshit anymore.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would, describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was. It doesn't really matter. I think he's speaking a lot of truth, and I think it's necessary that we say that I'm not a Trump supporter, but at this point, when you start looking at what is happening in this country, we certainly can't keep going with Creepy Joe, or Sleepy Joe, or whatever EP you want to put on him. And if the only other choice is Trump, I mean, God damn, I'm not I'm not a hey, lesser of two evils kind of guy. That's not who I am. I don't want to have to pick the lesser of two evils. But Jesus, I will not allow Biden to be in office again. It is a travesty. It's an insult. I don't know. I mean, if Trump is the alternative, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to write myself in again. Fitz 2024. If you guys all want to write me in, that's cool. But seriously, what a joke. What a joke our political system is, that those are our choices. Those two idiots.
So that's Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation. They are a conservative movement. They call themselves a battleship for conservatism, which, as you can tell, I mean, that was his message. Interesting cat. Really good follow. You guys can go on to @Heritage. You guys will be able to find it on X for sure. But yeah, that was an underlying, and that happened a couple of other times. Like we were saying, Milei did pretty much the same thing. Told everybody that their socialism is going to run the world into the ground. That was his message. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We can get off the Davos topic now and move on to some other stuff. But we did want to hammer that through because that really sums up a lot of the stuff that we talked about during the last year, and it's all accurate.
Yeah, and again, conspiracy thingo, like, it's happening, folks. And we can't deny it anymore. We know it's happening. So now I guess the question now is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. Yes. So I actually have a lot more beer left here, but we can move on to the second one. Yeah, believe it or not. It was a 750 milliliter bottle. So I mean, this is a big bottle.
Okay. Okay. Well, plus you had to battle with it for a bit. So
right. Well, it's amazing there was enough left because of all that's actually sprayed onto me. So we can go on to next beer if you want. However you want to play it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next beer. And see where the second half of this shit show takes us.
All right. We will be right back. Fitz, you remember you were talking about the house parties earlier, and do you remember the morning after and the stale beer that was everywhere? That smell.
I do. Yeah. It was in the backyard. It was in the carpet. It was on the tile in the kitchen. It was somehow on the ceiling a few times. Yes, I remember.
That's me right now. Okay. I'm pretty sure you could probably wring out my shorts into a glass. But we're going to keep going. And that's okay.
That's what she said.
As long as she wants it, as long as she's okay with being around me right now. Jesus Christ.
I mean, shit happens, man. Life is messy. And so is
it's
this
my
show.
fault. I failed the whole Boy Scout test. I need to have apparently a wine opener on my table here.
Yeah, I was actually gonna call you out on that earlier, but I declined. But since you brought it up, I mean, yeah, you should have an entire accoutrement of alcohol opening devices on your desk at all times and with you, like on your person.
Well, it's a good thing that I've got a bunny with a chainsaw, because I'm ready for beer 2, and this is Paperback's Badass Bunny with a Chainsaw. So I'm going to be just fine now. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Let's do this.
He's a furball from hell with a thirst for hops. If you go to Paperback's brewery, I've had some Paperbacks on here before. It's a fantastic brewer. But they actually have the cartoon right on the front page. So it's Bunny with a Chainsaw. What a beautiful day. I better get home for dinner. I can't be late. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Mom, Dad, where the hell are they? Oh no, the farmer. Yeehaw! He's got a cleaver. So he's cooking the mom and dad.
Jesus. Dark.
Right? But here's the bunny. After he sees the mom and dad being hung by their feet, it's time to fuck shit up. Grrr. So it runs to the barn, and he finds a chainsaw.
Sheep breath.
Hey, sheep breath, say hello to my little friend.
Say
And the
hello
bunny-
to my little friend.
And the bunny goes to town on the farmer. And then he makes soup out of them.
Who's hungry?
This soup is wicked delicious. Paperback brewing.
I mean, for a brewer to have good artwork is one thing. This is a whole other level. They have a fucking comic strip just for this beer. That's rad.
It really is something else. And it's just goofy. It's fun. I mean, who doesn't love a psychotic, a bunny that's going through a psychotic break?
Yeah, well, it's
great.
the rabbit version of John Wick. I mean, he gets revenge.
Interesting beer. It's a triple IPA. It's 9.5%. It is rude. It is a West Coaster. It is the mouthfeel on it. It's like angry hops. It has a
Like
sweet
an angry bunny.
Yeah. It has a sweet bitterness to it. It's not like I would want this beer when I'm angry. That It's an angry beer. It tastes good. I'm not going to go to this probably hardly ever, but if I'm pissed off, this is a beer that would just absolutely go wonderfully with it. I didn't know these guys were in Los Angeles. I have to go visit them now.
Yeah, that I was gonna say. I just looking around at the artwork that's on the walls and the artwork that's on their beer cans and their bottles. It's fucking rad. They put work into those.
Yeah, and and they've got a real respect for like the 60s and 70s cartoons.
Yeah, and that was a fucking Wheaties box right there.
Yeah.
So cool.
So good beer, very, very good beer. I think it's actually going to shift gears very nicely for me. So I'm happy with it here. Oh, and they consider that a New England IPA.
Yeah. Okay. Very different from a West Coast IPA. I prefer the New England IPAs over the West Coast, but
I'm sorry, it's Badass Bunny with a chainsaw. So this is actually the triple hazy version of it. So it's anywho. All right, what you got?
Well, in honor of Davos, because there were so many gigantic cunts there, I went with a gigantic brewing beer. And this one is their. Oh, sorry, I had to reach for the light.
You said gigantic.
This
right?
one, gigantic. Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure gigantic. You can get them coast to coast, but they're one of those brewers out there that's just in that rarefied group where they just really don't make a bad beer. They make some weird stuff where you're like, I probably won't have that again, but you know that somebody put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. Like, they just don't make bad beers. They know their shit. Anyway, this one is the most premium Russian Imperial Stout. This one is the 2022 barrel varietals. And what was cool about this year that they did with this beer, and I'm pouring the rest of it out of the bottle so I don't make a mess like someone I know. We age most premium Russian Imperial Stout in a variety of barrels: Scotch, port, rye, mezcal, and rum with orange peel. The sticker on the crown identifies which barrel this beer was aged in. So they took a base Imperial Stout and then they just put it in a bunch of different barrels that they could get their hands on. And then you just get these different varieties of the same beer, which in hindsight now, I kind of wish I would have gotten, one of each, because they had them all at my market of choice. But I got the one that sounded most delicious, the best to me. This one was aged in rum barrels with orange peel. So this is a 12% offering from Gigantic Brewing, again in honor of all the gigantic assholes at Davos. And let's see how we go.
So right off the top, this is one of their posters they have on their site. Give me a woman who loves beer, and I will conquer the world. Kaiser Wilhelm. I don't think he ever said that, but that's awesome. And the poster that's right on the front here is fucking outstanding.
Yeah, it's a locust in a Napoleon uniform smoking a cigarette, which is, and who thinks of this shit? And that's what's on my bottle too. So, I know earlier I was talking about Morena Baccarin, and I'm not claiming that you can, have her in a beer. But if she could be in a beer, she was a surprise in the first beer, right? I mean, I was like, whoa, hey, I'm glad she sat next to me on the plane and sat on me. This one is, she's asking me to marry her, and I'm saying yes. And I'm now married to Morena Baccarin. No disrespect to my current wife. I mean, it's a
but she gets it. She knows. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a polyamorous thing. She loves Morena too, so it's all good. In fact, she's happier about this than I am.
Can I ask? Can you spell Marina?
No.
No.
I think it's M-O, Morena. Morena, I believe. Morena.
Is it B-A-C-H?
B-A. Yep. There you got it. B-A. No, it's B-A-C-C.
Oh, okay. Got it here.
Yeah,
okay.
right
I don't know who you're talking about. Now I do.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's the girl in
from Firefly.
No. Yeah, she was in Firefly, right? Yes, she was the prostitute, but I guess that's where I saw her first, but she just really, blew my mind in Deadpool.
Yeah, she was Vanessa in Deadpool. Now I know. Now I know who you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because that first beer was, lighter, and this one is dark and mysterious, and it's multi-layered, and that's how I picture her being in real life. Like, clearly I'm never going to meet this woman. But
don't
anyway.
sell yourself short. Maybe you will.
Well, you're right. Hey, if Whiskey Hell gets big enough, I'd like her to be our first guest.
Okay.
Just saying. Anyway, the orange peel is subtle. You can definitely taste the high notes of the rum in this beer, but really this is just a kick-ass imperial stout. I've not had. Just for a straight up imperial stout, this is so complex. You've got your leather, you got your raisins, and then that citrusy orange peel in there. Really well balanced beer. This is one of my favorites I've ever had from Gigantic. This is going to be a hard one tonight, like which one I take to bed, because the first one was a surprise. This one outdid my expectations. So I don't know. We'll see, but phenomenal beer, really good. And this is a sipper. This is gonna be a belly warmer.
Is this the first time you've had that though?
Yes, first time I've had this beer. Yep.
Wow. Okay. That's by Gigantic Brewing. So you guys can go on to giganticbrewing.com and check out all of their stuff. And they're another one that spends a lot of time on making sure that it's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been around too many breweries out here, and something that I have noticed, they do not bring the fun. Arizona Wilderness, not fun.
Yeah, they take themselves really seriously.
Yeah. Santan, not fun. Oso, fun.
No.
Oso's fun.
Yeah.
But there's so many others that are just like, God, this. I get it. Good beer, but it's not like I want to go and be a part of like the like it's different when you've got Drecker Nation, right, or Gigantic Nation, or the Big Bad Baptists, right? Those are fun.
Yeah. What's the one with the robot? They do all their stuff with robots. They do some fun stuff too. I'll think of it. Hopworks? No, not Hopworks. Something Works.
Weldworks does it, I think.
Weldworks, yes, Weldworks. That's who it was.
Yeah, it's just
fun
different.
stuff.
It's just very, very different. And I think I would rather go someplace and have fun than just, I don't know. It's just the atmosphere and the whole vision and the mantra of the brewery too. I think that does matter. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think
and
we killed it with those last two.
Yeah, for sure we did. And I'm not trying to go P. Diddy or anything, but when I think about like the Whiskey Hell Empire, one of the arms of that empire is going to be a really fun, outgoing, ridiculous at times brewery. Like we're going to have some solid beers, right? I mean, some beers that people know they can rely on, but then we're going to do some wild shit. Like we're going to have the fucking the buttercup peanut butter caramel coffee marshmallow lemon stout. I don't know what, we're just going to think of some wild shit. Right. And it's going to, and all of our fans, all of our listeners, you're all going to be part of it. We want your input. We're going to use your names, not your legal names, but your screen names.
Yeah.
And we're going to name shit after you. And it's going to be awesome. And so, again, I'm not trying to sound like, hey, I'm good at rapping, so now I should go do this. But I want an empire, dude. I want a Whiskey Hell empire. Okay.
So this is what we're going to do. We got a few minutes here. We're going to riff real quick. Now, the folks that we have in chat, we've got Aaron, Beard of Liberty, Buttercup, Calliope, L, Tabby, and Mike. Let's go through. These are our patrons. Let's go through and figure out what kind of beer style that they would be. Can we do that real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just read Tab's comment. Like, what would we make for the trash can? Yeah, let's do that real quick. Let's. I mean, I think I started with the most obvious one. I think the Buttercup needs to be like a peanut butter stout or a peanut butter imperial stout. Because Buttercup, like that, you just.
What about
like
peanut butter golden stout?
Like a. We call that the Buttercup golden shower.
You could call it that, sure. You could go that.
I'm not into that kind of thing, and I don't know if Buttercup is. I'm just saying, like, we could. And of course, I'm gonna make everything sexual. So, folks, if you don't want your stuff sexual, you better speak up now or forever hold your peace, because I will make it sexual somehow, some way. All right. I mean, I think, yeah. Okay, go ahead. What are your thoughts for Beard? Beard of Liberty. What are we making for him?
Beard is going to be a unique American lager, but the unique part's going to be it's going to be like a 6.5%. Okay, so big, bold. It's going to be an American Pilsner, and it's going to be in your face, but you're going to be perfectly fine with a 6-pack of it. I think that's where you got to go with Beard.
I love it. I love that idea. That's kind of where I was going with it too. I was going to do like a chainsaw IPA or something, but I like the American lager, and I think we should call it, come sit on this Beard of Liberty if you want an orgasm of freedom or something like that. Like that's the name of the beer.
I like this. We're even going to market this shit. This is fantastic. Aaron. Okay, it's either a heavy fucking barley wine or an imperial stout. It's going to be an American imperial stout, or it's going to be a heavy barley wine. We're talking like a 15 or 16%er. Just a fucking hammer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way we can sexualize Aaron, but I'm just, maybe he needs a different screen name. I don't know. Well, we could go with the name of his show. Or American Kong. Oh, okay. Imperial like Stout. American Kong. It's over 14%. And I'm thinking it has to be whiskey barreled. Absolutely. And the tagline is come for the beer, stay for the outrage. Right? Yes. It's just got that gorilla face screaming on it. I love that. There you go. That's fucking fantastic. All right, Calliope.
Calliope. Isn't Calliope? All right, we're now stretching the outer limits of my knowledge of goddesses, but wasn't Calliope a goddess of sex? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
It is tonight.
Okay, and I'm not trying to over-sexualize it. The muse. Oh, she presided over the eloquence of heroic poetry. So she was, I guess, kind of sexual. I'm gonna sexualize it. Fuck it.
Yeah, you've got to. So it's gonna be a philosopher's beer. So why don't we go with? I want a farmhouse ale, but no, it's a Belgian. She's a Belgian.
There you go. I like it.
She's a quad. She's a Belgian quad. Go ahead and sexy that up.
Okay. Shit. My mind goes in the terrible place. All right, I'll start off with where I was at, and then we can. So it could be like the Calliope quad.
Yes, yes.
Most girls only have 3 holes. I have 4, like something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Okay. Yes.
And then there'd be some really amazing poetry on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like, you know what, this is almost like a recast, like the Greys do, like where they recast a movie. This is kind of we're just originally casting it. This is the original cast. Which
this is the only time that this is going to happen. You guys are the only ones that are going to have beers named after you. L.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
L is the next
L.
one. What do you think?
I mean, I think the funniest story, one of the funniest stories I've ever heard is that the car's radio called her lawn. And so I think we need to do like something based off of lawn, because that's what L is, lawn, right? But like, the kind you mow.
No.
So let the mind, like, I don't know, mow this lawn for a good time. And then it could be like a summer citrus IPA, fresh, light, funny, a little bit naughty. It's going to be a 7%er, so it'll get you a little light in the head, ready for butt stuff, whatever.
So this is what I'm envisioning. Okay. I'm envisioning a rich farmhouse ale with summer flavors, oranges, vanilla, and it's like that. Probably about an 8%er. It's going to come in these really big bottles. It's going to have to be corked too.
It's like a orange sickle, but a little heavier ABV, so it'll actually knock you on your butt.
And a little drier. Yeah. So it's going to be real. You're going to think it's nice, and you're going to think it's going to be refreshing. Oh, yeah. And then you're going to be like, I shouldn't have had that third one. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, and then it's going to smack your face, and then as soon as you hit the ground, it's going to smack your ass.
Yeah, and it's going to call you pretty.
Yeah. Now,
Tabby.
Now who's mowing? Okay. Jesus. All right. I mean, you could go so many directions here.
Yes, you could.
With Tabs, because I mean, on the one hand, she has a sophisticated palate. She enjoys really good, complex beers that took a long time to brew. And on the other hand, I know that girl will drink whatever the fuck you put in front of her. And so we could go anywhere with this.
Okay, it's going to be imperial. It's going to be imperial.
Oh yeah. It's going to have to. You're going to remember it. You're going to remember it for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to say barley wine. Imperial barley wine. So we're talking like 17%.
But it's got to have something to draw you in. It can't just be rude.
Oh no. It's going to be the most subtle 17%. You're not going to taste the heat. You're not going to get any of that stuff. And it's going to be the most pleasant drinking beer, and then you're going to not know what the fuck hit you. And then suddenly you're going to be out in the backyard naked, and you're running around with a shovel, and you'd have no idea why. But it's your shovel, and if anybody gets in your way, they're going to fucking die.
Oh.
That's what's going to end up happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're gonna be the next cast member on The Walking Dead. Yeah, and I mean, so it could be like, shit. What's a good name for that beer? I don't know. Let me keep thinking of that because it needs to be. It needs to have some subtlety to it. And
yes,
I agree. Yeah. So.
All right.
If you can't tell, my subtlety button is broken right now. I'm pushing it, but nothing's happening. It's just...
How about delicate flowers in the dumpster?
How? I mean, okay. I was thinking. Okay, here's where I was originally thinking. I was thinking something more like
dumpster flowers. Elle got it.
Okay.
Elle got it.
That.
Dumpster flowers nails it, I think.
I was gonna go something with the gray, like I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm gray, but I'm gonna knock you the fuck out, something like that. But I like dumpster flowers. I thought it's short and sweet.
Dumpster flowers is really funny.
It's dignified.
Yeah, I really like that one, okay. And the art would be fantastic. All right, so I think we know Mike is going to be a sour. I think he's going to be a shake also. Not high ABV. So you got to come up with a not high ABV, like a 5.7, I think.
Yeah, respectable.
Shake.
Yeah, like maybe a 6.
Drinkable.
Yeah, okay.
Drinkable.
Yeah. Yes, crushable. Yep.
Yeah. He wants to be a 7. Not a 6, not an 8. He wants to be a 7.
Okay. I like it. Make it in a mini can. Oh shit. How about we just call it Mike's Spike? Okay. And then there's just like a picture of a dildo on the can.
Spiked Mike. Spiked
what is this,
Mike.
Like a garbage pail kid?
And it's a dildo chasing Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike. This is I have to say, I do like this idea. I like where we're going with this.
No, we love you, Mike. We would not do this unless we loved you. Don't even go there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Irish, dude. If I'm not bagging on you, I don't like you.
Yeah. Mike's mediocre meat. Oh my God. Okay, let's. I think we got. I liked Spiked Mike. I think that's cool. All right.
Yep.
Oh, that was fun. Didn't see that one coming. So.
No, that's you know what? That's almost just for our Patreon people, but also everybody else gets to participate. Yeah. That's great.
Well, they should join us so they can have fun like that. And I think it's a hell of an idea. If we ever do start making beers, which would be badass, now we have beers set up for them, and we'll consult them.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. No, I love this. Again, it's going to be a whole whiskey hell empire. So,
absolutely.
No, if you're not, if we have listeners out there, if you're not into beer, we're going to have a clothing department. We're going to have.
That's right.
We're going to have a distillery for some hard
pharmaceuticals.
Liquor. We're going to have pharmaceuticals for sure. I mean, we mentioned
we're gonna
ketamine earlier.
Pot. We're going to quit everything.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're gonna have genetic. We're gonna have genetic testing. Whiskey hell healthcare. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Well, if Amazon can do it, we might as well do it. I don't see why we can't.
Done and done.
All right, Trump wins Iowa. We're gonna blow through this really fast.
Yeah, he didn't just win Iowa. He fucking with a machete.
He annihilated Iowa.
He hacked through that jungle. Yeah, he annihilated it. And then the best part of all of that, and we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the best part of all of it was CNN, MSNBC, even Fox cut him off. They did not air his speech.
No, they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't even validate the fact that he massacred everybody.
No.
And again, I'm not a Trump fan, but believe me, I loved to see that. believe that I love to see him slaughter the shit. And I mean, people are starting to drop like flies. There's rumors. I don't know if you saw this, McShane. There's rumors
DeSantis
that DeSantis, yeah, he's dropping out.
Yep. Because he decided he wasn't going to do his CNN interview, and I think Face the Nation he was supposed to be on too. So he decided he wasn't going to do that.
That dumpster fire. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. They wouldn't. And here a couple things that were strange about this. One, as soon as the caucus is open, which I love the word caucus, by the way, the word, not. All right, I just made that weird. Fuck. Anyway,
it is weird, but go ahead.
But it's a fun word to say, right? Everybody should go ahead. Everybody, I know you're all sitting here at home and you're saying the word caucus, right? And it's not just like
comes from the
don't do it in your head. Hopefully nobody's around. You say caucus, and like Tabby said, cock ass. Phonetically, it's fun. It's a real. You see, it's a fun word. So the amazing part for me was that CNN, MSNBC, and all these they just came out and said, okay, Trump wins. Like a minute into the window opening, it was already over, done, period.
Yeah, and
end of story.
What's her name? Rachel Maddow. She's like, hey, we'll go ahead. We're not going to air. We don't want to be purveyors of misinformation. So if he says anything newsworthy, we'll go ahead and let you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When did you become a filter for what I should and shouldn't know, and what I shouldn't think is newsworthy? Let me be the judge of that. I mean, they're basically patting me on the head and saying, no, you're too stupid to understand what's really going on. So we'll tell you what to think. Fuck you. I don't care if I hate Trump. Let me hear him speak if I want to hear him speak.
Let me make up my own fucking decision.
Yeah.
I'll make up my own mind. Thank you. Well, here's Joy Reid.
But, I feel like the important sort of data point, and Steve talks about it a lot. He's going to probably talk about it a little more tonight, is that these are white Christians. That this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses, especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones, from the Public Religion Research Institute, knowing that we were going to talk about Iowa. And this is a hyper evangelical white state. And he said the following to me: Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. And in Iowa, we're talking about evangelical white Christians. And he said the following. I asked him, what do they get out of supporting Donald Trump? Because he keeps losing, he keeps delivering losses and losses and losses. And he said the following: they see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them. All the things that we think about electability, about, what are people gaming out, or none of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American, is a less real American. Then you don't care about electability. You care about what God has given.
So I can't think of anybody who's more racist than her on television.
Jesus Christ. What was the difference between what you're saying right there is exactly what Barack did. That's how he got elected. Do you remember the clip that kept playing when Barack got elected? She's like, I'm so happy he got elected. He's going to buy me a new car.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that fucking idiot?
Yeah.
What's the difference? He promised the fucking farm, and he delivered none of it. All he did was get us into war. But that's okay. But Trump promising that this is your country and you're going to get it back, that's not okay. She is so fucking racist. And I'm sorry. A good point by Beard. She's culturally appropriating white people's hair with that fucking thing. She looks like she's right out of Dumb and Dumber. What the fuck is that haircut?
Well, she looks like she scalped Karen.
She did. She exactly scalped Karen and just wearing her fucking hair as a trophy. It is so beyond ridiculous how they treated this election. And again, if you're talking about the nation as a whole is 41%, okay? And Iowa is 61%. But Trump won by like 32%. So I mean, if you want to extrapolate those numbers, you fucking moron, he's gonna win in a landslide in November, in a landslide, if your numbers are correct. So I don't know what her point was there, saying that Christians are overrepresented in Iowa.
She was discounting it.
Yeah, I know that's what she was trying to do, but she's a fucking moron.
They're all a bunch of entitled white people, and she's trying to vilify anybody who's religious. That's all she's doing. That's what she does. And here, let's go here. Here now she's going to go ahead and she's going to she's excusing why Nikki Haley lost.
New Hampshire. And I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump. And I don't care how much the donor class likes her, which will ramp up a lot, the better she does in New Hampshire. So it's still a challenge. I don't see how she becomes the nominee of that party with Donald Trump still around. I can't picture it happening. Maybe it could happen. Ron DeSantis' only argument for staying in it is he's the white guy, that he can still make the appeal to white evangelists.
She is the biggest racist there
terrible.
Is on that stadium, on that network.
Well, which is saying something, because that's a really racist network. What happened to the days where, two men or two women or two people enter a ring and they fight it out, and the best person walks out of that ring as the champion? I mean, isn't that what we look for in our sports? Is that the better team, the better athlete, the more sophisticated strategist is going to win, regardless of the color of his skin. I mean, nobody ever looked at Michael Jordan and was like, yeah, but he's black. No, we were like, he's the fucking best ever, and he will always be the best ever, and regardless of skin color. But this has to be that the only reason she lost is because of her skin. And the only reason
it's a scapegoating, right? It's
what I'm saying.
It's like everything else that the left does. We're going to go and make a fucking excuse for everything. And it's always going to come down to their color, their race, their gender.
Yeah.
It's not because they fucking suck.
Right.
The left doesn't understand that the nation is pissed. You have Democrats that are saying, you know what? I'm not voting for, I will not vote for Biden. I will not do it. I will not vote for somebody that I don't want anymore. I'm pissed off. I can't pay for groceries. I can't pay for my utilities. I can't even fucking pay for gas to get to work. And they're using this excuse as it has to come down to the race. No, your fucking politics suck. This narrative, this insulting narrative that the left has to drive, this victimization that they have to drive constantly is wretched. And I'm sure I would feel the same way if it was the Republicans doing it. We've talked about this at length. I don't like the Republicans. I don't like the Democrats, but Jesus Christ, this liberal agenda, this desire, this need to make sure that, we're victims. Nobody likes us because they're all a bunch of racists. It's insulting. And rather than owning up to your fucking politics suck, the way you're managing the country is running us into the ground. It's scapegoating, it's excuses, it's bullshit, is everything I can't fucking stand.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly add, the chat's been going kind of furiously quick on all of this, but one thing that Beard said that I want to address, the backlash to this, and I think we've been seeing it with the go woke, go broke. I think in a minute here we're going to talk about Sports Illustrated. They went woke, and they are literally this week firing all of their staff. But to your point, Beard, the backlash to this is, Newtonian physics tells us that a reaction is always balanced out by an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're going to be those idiots on CNN and say racist shit like that, what do you think the rest of us are going to be thinking and doing? There's going to be a backlash, a racist backlash that you can't handle. Like it or not, you're still not the majority in this country.
It's all about forcing the narrative.
And I don't condone it. I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see race on race violence. I don't want to be a part of race on race violence. I won't be a part of it. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to tolerate is one side inciting the other side by just saying, hey, you can't say you're racist shit, but I can say whatever the fuck I want. Both of you are wrong, and I'll hit both of you in the face. I'll punch everybody in the teeth. It's not okay.
Equal opportunity punches. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think the liberal woke left is ready for the backlash that's coming. And it's happened we all know the Bud Lights, the Targets, Sports Illustrated. We have these examples, and that's just financial. There's going to be violence over these things. And you can't take it back and be like, oh, well, I didn't really mean what I said, but you said it and it's out there and you're fucked.
Yeah, you said it. The internet's, it remembers everything.
Everything.
Those clips are going to go down in history. I hope your sponsors fucking burn for it.
Yeah.
And I hope there's retribution. I really, really do. The pendulum's going to swing back. Now, we were talking about in the very first in the first segment about Davos and how the message, how they've lost the message, and how now they're worried about making sure that they're making sure they're handling the misinformation and all this kind of stuff. Well, mainstream media isn't trusted.
No.
Anybody who watches this crap, you're a sucker. The FBI.
Oh.
This Martin Luther King Day, the FBI honors one of the most prominent leaders of the civil rights movement and reaffirms its commitment to Dr. King's legacy of fairness and equal justice for all. That was on X. And here's the follow-up that came from Community Notes. This was beautiful. The FBI engaged in surveillance of King, attempted to discredit him, and used manipulation tactics to influence him to stop organizing. King's family believed the FBI was responsible for his death. And they cited CBS News, NPR twice. I love Community Notes. I love
it's
Community
so
Notes.
great. It's so great. It was one of the most brilliant moves that Musk did when he bought X, when he bought Twitter and made it X. Was add Community Notes. And what's brilliant about it, for those of you who don't know how Community Notes work, is if enough people who disagree on other things agree on this one thing, then it gets posted as a community note. So in other words, McShane is a liberal and I'm a conservative and we disagree on everything, but then both of us make a comment about the fact that King was surveilled by the FBI and that he was most likely killed by an FBI agent. If we both say that, the algorithm goes, oh, these guys don't agree on shit, but they agree on this. Let's put it on Community Notes. And if that happens enough times, it's up there permanently forever. And what a brilliant algorithm to put in. And that was all Musk's brainchild. He had been thinking about that for months before he even thought about buying Twitter. He was just like, you know what we need? We need somebody who's fact checking this shit because it's just disinformation everywhere. And so this is how he decided to do it. And it's brilliant. I love it. And it's just kind of like one of those things. Number one, who at the FBI thought it'd be a good idea to put that out? Like, we're going to honor Mr. King, Dr. King.
Some DEI prick that decided
fucking
that
idiots.
It's Martin Luther King Day. Let's go ahead and make sure that we say something kind. That's what it came down to.
Yeah, someone who doesn't know their history. That's who did it.
Here, while we're on it, let's go to Space Force. Can we go to Space Force?
Please.
I'm an Air Force Academy graduate, former F-15C fighter pilot, and was a lieutenant colonel and commander in the Space Force. In 2021, I was fired from my command for writing a book trying to reverse the trend of the overt politicization of the uniformed services. Specifically, I criticized the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings, which, at my own base, were illegally occurring despite an executive order from the Commander-in-Chief. The diversity, equity, and inclusion industry is steeped in critical race theory and is rooted in anti-American Marxist ideology. I watched DEI trainings divide our troops ideologically and in some cases sow the seeds of animosity toward the very country they had sworn an oath to defend. Before writing that book, I submitted a formal written complaint to the Space Force Inspector General's office detailing that such violations were occurring, including illegal race-based discrimination, but my complaint was never investigated and was later dismissed by then Lieutenant General Stephen Whiting, whom the Senate just confirmed for his 4th star. After 2 months, I received a written dismissal of my complaint from General Whiting. Personally, I have always advocated for a non-political military work environment. Today I'm here to testify about the ongoing Marxist-inspired efforts to subvert and weaken our military and broader American society. We often refer to these efforts as wokeism, but it is also a culture war. Yet even in this committee, there are differing views about whether there is such a thing as a culture war underway. Some members of this committee have been outspoken critics of DEI initiatives to include CRT, drag shows on military bases, trans activism, LGBTQ pride celebrations, and woke military recruiting videos, all things that are visible components of an ongoing culture war. Ranking Member Garcia, as he just mentioned, on the other hand, and asserted as recently as 2 weeks ago, says that the culture wars are quote-unquote phony and are merely a political talking point of Republicans. It's nothing if not incredible for a member of this subcommittee to assert that culture wars are phony, while another member, who's not present at the moment, of this committee is a member of the so-called Progressive Squad, was herself a Black Lives Matter organizer and activist, an organization whose publicly avowed ideology is Marxism, and whose activist ambition is social and cultural revolution. Service members who wear the uniform of their country do not want to see these things in the military workplace. They don't want to see them at their bases. In most cases, this is true regardless of their race or their political worldview. Despite that reality, Pentagon officials requested $140 million to expand woke diversity initiatives in fiscal year 2024, double what it's been the previous 2 years. There are few things taxpayers such as myself feel less essential to the mission of the United States military than expanding diversity mandates and indoctrination. And now an important point. Such aggressively opposed ideological worldviews competing for institutionalization through policy epitomizes and formalizes what is properly termed a culture war. The fact that these debates now infect the U.S. military workplace is an offense to people like me who love their country and all people regardless of their race, gender, sexual preference, or background.
What I heard was the military figured out another way to get a lot of cash.
Yeah. I mean, how else do you slice that apple? That's exactly what it was. And also to sort of lubricate the rectum of the American people as far as like, hey, we have this new branch of the military. And yeah, that sounds scary because it's Space Force and maybe there's aliens out there, but hold on. We are all about equity and inclusion and diversity in this new Space Force. So when the aliens come down, they won't be able to tell who's a man and a woman. So we're good. Like, I think there's some of that going on too. Like, you're all safe. They won't know. And we can make friends with them because they're all, asexual also. Or androgynous, or I don't know. Non-binary? What's the new term?
I don't know. I have no idea. And what? And I will totally admit that I have a huge block when it comes to this stuff because I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to use the person's name. I don't give a fuck after that. I will change. Yep. I will literally change so that I don't use they, them, or anything other than I'm going to use the person's name, and I don't fucking care. I don't want to get into the pronouns. I don't give a shit. It's not important. I don't find it. It is. And if I did, I'm giving into it and I'm giving credence to the bullshit that it is. And I will not do it. I can't do it.
Same. I said to one of my employees, he was having a vulnerable moment, and he came out to me and said, I don't know if you know, but I'm transgender. And I had this thought in my head. I'm like, well, what's the right thing to say to this? And you know what came out of my mouth? And I stand by it to this day. I said, I don't care. I mean, I don't. Either you come and you show up and you do a good job at work, or you don't. I don't ask any of my other employees, are you a man? Are you a woman? What's your orientation?
Fucking matter.
Who do you have sex with? I don't care. Do you do a good job at work? Bam. You are a star employee. I don't care how you identify. And I mean, he was taken aback, and then I could tell there was like this moment of like recognition and respect of like, oh, okay, great. Cause that's what I want. I don't want anyone to care that I'm transgender. So that's,
nobody
like
cares.
I said, I stand by it. No.
And are you a good person? Are you going to do a good job? Right. Are you going to work hard? Fuck yeah. That's what it comes down to. All this other bullshit, it doesn't fucking matter. It's all fucking static.
Yep.
Anyway, I like that cut we were able to find there. So that was
yeah,
really
and I'm glad he spoke the fuck up to Congress. Like, that shit's on record.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. And I like that that's still a thing, that's still being looked at. It needs to be done away with. It really does.
Yeah.
So this is something that you found this week. Now, this is a picture from Dave Rubin, kind of a talking head. But he took a snapshot. And I don't know what airport this was, but this is a picture of a TSA sign. Non-U.S. citizen document validation using CBP-1 technology. The TSA is partnering with CBP to test the use of CBP-1 at certain TSA checkpoints to validate adult non-U.S. citizen travel documentation when the traveler does not otherwise have an acceptable form of identification. How it works: notify the TSA officer that you are a migrant. 2, the TSA officer will take a photo. Oh, it's optional, so you don't really have to take a photo, but we're going to try to take a photo. But you can say, you know what, I don't want to take a photo. My hair is really bad. Please don't do it. 3.
Well, I'm transsexual, and I don't want to be identified incorrectly.
Right, exactly. If requested, provide your alien identification number or biographic information. Follow officer's instructions. They don't have to have any kind of identification to fly. Yet I'm going to get pulled out. I'm going to get cup checked. It's going to be a conversation. The TSA guy and I are going to be fucking dating by the time I get through, because I'm a bald, bearded fuck with tattoos. But anybody else who's not even an American citizen can go ahead and slide right through, and it's totally cool. What happened to checking and making sure that people weren't, that we knew who was getting on our planes? This is surreal to me. And we need to look at this more. This needs to come up. I'm hoping we start seeing some stories about this. But this is really bothersome. I've spent a lot of time on planes, and I'm kind of concerned.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the TSA and all of that was born out of 9/11, right? I mean, apparently before 9/11, we sucked at airport security, except that we didn't. If you want to have a really fantastic read, any of you, go check out the book Unsafe at Any Altitude. These 2 investigative journalists break down what airport security was before 9/11 and then what it became after 9/11. And believe me, there were no upgrades. They were all downgrades.
It was all control.
It was all about control. And so, when you're going into the airport and they do the airport security thing, quote unquote, it's a sham. First of all, none of those people, allegedly, none of those people who, quote unquote, hijacked an airplane on 9/11 were American citizens. So why the fuck are we all being subjected as American citizens to what should have been caught by airport security for non-American citizens? They should have been red flagged, not me. But yet now you have this notice that anybody who's an illegal, you don't even have to declare yourself. Just show me your plane ticket and no habla español or no habla inglés, and you're on the plane, and please don't take my photo. Are you fucking... When I saw this, I was like, okay, it's got to be fake. Well, I found several other people. Now that this is out, people are taking pictures. And these signs are at every major airport all around the country. This is not a one-off. So I don't, you hear these things about, well, it's this, we're only letting in fighting age men, and it's, they're creating an army here in the country. And it's like, shut the fuck up. That's ridiculous. Now we're at this point where I don't know anymore. I don't know. Why are all these people being allowed to not only come into our country, but they're being bussed all over the country for free? They get to fly wherever they want with no ID check. And the rest of us are like, it's a struggle to even get on a plane. I don't know what's going on. I'm
fighting age
puzzled
males
by it.
Get to fly.
Yeah, they're all fighting age.
One, they're flying for free, right? They're on the government dollar. Two, they don't have to actually show identification apparently, so that's a thing. Three, everybody, we have different standards. We have to make sure that we have X amount of IDs, no liquid going on the plane. We're gonna get fucking reach around as we're getting on, which we actually, that might be okay, but it's double standards, and those standards have been relaxed to go ahead and allow 14 million new immigrants into the country. That's what's going on. And I'm still waiting. This should have been a bingo card entry. Immigrants get immediate voting license. That may be a free one. We just go ahead and fucking throw in there just because it kicks. But I'm still waiting for that to happen. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
I think that is happening. It's just kind of by city, state by state status, situational. Some states are allowing it. Most are not. But I think that tide is shifting. That a lot of communities are just, you don't have to have any ID to vote. You don't even have to prove you are who you are. Just mail in your shit. And then what was it? 300 and some counties in this country had over 100% voting show up in 2020. They're now just, they're counting the votes and being like, wait, we have 1,000 residents, but 1,100 people voted. Like, how is that possible?
It's magic.
I mean, you have these concerns all over the place, and then you have Klaus Schwab up there saying, don't worry, we have AI who can just predict all this stuff. So don't worry your pretty little heads. Jesus Christ.
Hey, we're into, I think, the middle of week 2 as far as Texas having the border shut down. Now, we didn't stipulate how big of the border. Eagle Pass definitely counts. So if they keep that up for another 2 weeks, they've blown off the government action that was presented because the government, now they're going to get the DOJ involved. If they can hold out for another 2 weeks, that's going to be another, I'm excited. It's another bingo card that's going to be knocked off.
Dude, you are so right. Good call. Yeah, I love that Texas, the ICE agents were down there and Border Patrol were down there. And then Texas sent in the National Guard with their fucking, with their military training, their military grade weapons and vehicles. And they were like, get out. And so, I mean, luckily, imagine what would have happened if one shot would have been fired. But luckily the feds were like, okay, we're out. But now there's this, there was a deadline. I believe it was yesterday. The federal government said
it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. And, and they blew it off, and now it's got to go to the DOJ. So I said, all right, cool, fine. We'll let the DOJ work it out. So God knows how long the Department of Justice is gonna take to work that out. You know what? Words really matter. Do you know what Texas calls its National Guards?
What's that?
It's the Texas Military Department.
Oh, nice.
That's interesting to me. Doesn't that give some? You know what? We're just, we're done here. We're gonna secede.
Yeah,
we got the TMD ready to go.
TMD, I like it, and I'm definitely. I mean, I'm with you, Beard. I'm Team Texas the whole way on this, and not that I want Texas to secede. In years past, I've made jokes about like, well, that wouldn't be so bad. Texas is kind of its own country anyway, if you've ever been there. But at this point, I'm Team Texas because if you're gonna tell me that we have a Constitution, a Bill of Rights, a Supreme Court to uphold those Bill of Rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the way down to the DOJ, and so this is the set of rules you're giving me as a citizen of this country, and I have to live by these rules. And then you're gonna take those rules away? Well, then I'm the fuck out of your stupid game. I don't want to play in your sandbox anymore. I'm taking my bucket and I'm going home. And I'm going to go play my own sandbox and make my own sandcastles because you're not playing by the rules that you set up. So why would I stay? I'm Team Texas all the way. And I will absolutely uproot my family, my job, my employment, all of it. I will uproot myself and move to Texas if that's how it goes. Because if I can't play by the rules that I was told were the rules to the game, and I'm just getting fucked at every turn, why wouldn't I go to some place that was like, hey, remember those original rules? That's what we're playing by. Come over here.
The Constitution's not optional. It shouldn't be optional.
Right.
Fitz, this is one of the last couple stories that we're going to get to tonight. I want to make sure that we call some attention to a story that we had many months ago. I don't even know what show it was, but you brought up the fact that we could see on satellite all of these different stories or all these different fires that suddenly popped up all around Canada, and it was like within very similar times, right? Like a very, very similar amount of time. Well, here you go. 38-year-old Brian Parr told the Chibougamau courthouse, someplace in fucking Canada, that he was guilty of the 13 counts of arson against him and 1 count of arson with disregard for human life. Parr's arson attacks took place between May 29th and September 5th, 2023. So you'll find our show right in there. Chibougamau is a small town that was deeply affected by last summer's fires. The fires in the region led to deteriorating air quality, temporarily displacing all 7,500 residents. Now, that's not the biggest thing that happened there. The biggest thing that happened there was the Canadian government doubled down on climate change. Apparently, forests were spontaneously combusting and lighting on fire, and this is a major outcry that we had to have in order we needed to make sure that we were reversing climate change. It was fucking ridiculous. You saw it. You saw the evidence in satellite photos. Thank you for seeing that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I won't be surprised if, years from now, and maybe this should be on a future bingo card, if we don't find out that this guy was a fucking CIA plant. Hey, we need to perpetuate this agenda. So here's a box of matches, a bottle of lighter fluid, and go nuts. Have to have some fun.
Hey, Brian, can you go out into the forest out in this area and light some stuff on fire? Well, what do you want me to light on fire, eh? Just fucking light some trees on fire, man.
Just all of it. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, just light everything on fire. Fucking go crazy, eh?
Whatever you see,
We'll let you play some hockey, and we'll give you some maple syrup. It'll be great.
Oh, shit. Beard brings up a good point. I wonder if he was leaning on things. He
very well could have been.
He may be an American. Holy shit. Way to tie it all in, Beard.
Before we go, because this is super important, did you know that there's a top 10, the Daily Mail? Thank you to the Daily Mail for calling attention to this. The top 10 cities for threesomes and open relationships. Did you know that this was the thing?
Well, I mean, I do now, but I didn't beforehand. And mostly I'm asking myself, why am I not living in one of these 10 cities? Because as you all know, threesomes is my middle name. It's Fitz, threesomes Fitz, and I fit in everything. So let's do this, right?
I have never had a threesome or a foursome or anything or any sums. I'm lucky if there's a partner. So I haven't. I've never gone down that road.
I'm lucky if it's a couple. My story of one night I got close, and I mean by close I mean that there were insinuations, and then it was like, actually, we're more interested in each other. You can see yourself out, and so I did.
Can you just go? I'll just sit in the corner and jerk off. Can I do that?
But I mean, it was close enough.
Just tap me in. I'll be like the tap. I'll be the. Yeah, that's.
It was close enough that I could have been in a dark corner, jacking off, and I would have counted it, but it didn't happen, and so I can't count it. But so yeah, I apparently need to move to one of these 10 cities, which none of them will surprise you. They're all very liberal, and by liberal I mean just sexually liberal, open,
right? Not the typical liberal that we're talking about here. Yeah.
No.
Although, these are just, hold on a second. Wait a second. This might be a thing.
There's a lot of. Well, these cities have a lot of people in them. I will just say
they
that.
They do.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So
yep.
It's, yeah.
Population definitely skews.
Yeah.
All right. We got New York City as number 1. Los Angeles, number 2. Houston, 3. These are Democrat cities. Just saying. Chicago, Vegas, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix. Okay, According to PhoenixSwingClubs.com, 90% of men saying yes to a threesome. Okay, that's not like, duh.
Yeah, that's not a threesome is happening. It's just guys want to fuck.
That's not a revelation.
No. Hold on. So let me read this list to you really quick.
Hold on. Aaron says threesomes are overrated.
Oh, okay. I'd like to know that story. So let me read you this list. This is the 300 largest cities in the United States by population. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Number 1, New York. Number 2, LA. Number 3, Chicago. Number 4, Houston. Number 5, Phoenix. So you're telling me the places where the most threesomes happen are where the most people are. That makes sense to me because there's more people to threesome with.
And that's why we do this show, folks.
Jesus Christ. Hey, really quick, before we sign off, I want to give a quick shout out to my boy, Ben Davidson. He got invited finally. He's been sort of not petitioning.
He was on Timcast, right?
Yeah, he went on Culture Wars with Tim Pool, which is not an insignificant podcast. I think 3 or 4 million listens a week. So not Joe Rogan level, but definitely what we would like to be. So he went on there with Jimmy Corsetti. Both Ben and Jimmy are, huge, like, hey, this is a climate scam. We're going to tell you why. And Ben really got to lay out the Earth disaster cycle, what's really been happening with the sun and the heat exchange and the magnetic field around the Earth degrading. So it was just a huge platform for him. And what's really cool about it, what gave me chills, was that the live, because Tim Pool, when he records his show, kind of like we do, he does a live version of it. They beat their live viewership by like 15% of their old record. Yeah, so a lot of people tuned in for that one. Yeah, so Ben got huge exposure, Jimmy Corsetti got huge exposure, and it was just a win-win all around. So for those of you who are friends of the show, go out and check out that show because it was a banger. I mean, a lot of knowledge dropped on that show, and I just want to give a shout out to our boy Ben and Jimmy Corsetti too, who we've not really talked about a lot, but he's out there, keeping it real. So I just want to mention that before the end of the show. So go check that out. Great episode from Tim Pool. and culture wars. So good stuff.
Hey, tag them after we drop the show on Monday. Tag them. Say, hey, shout out to you guys.
Yeah,
loved having you guys on there. So
for sure.
All right, let us see which beers we're taking to bed. Fitz, where are you going?
God damn it. God damn.
Okay,
one. All right. You know what? Here's what we're doing, McShane. This is one of those nights. I'm moving to New York City.
Okay. Oh,
that's where I'm most likely to. Right. I'm most likely to get a threesome, and it's a threesome with Morena and her twin. I know none of y'all saw that coming. She's got a twin, at least in my fantasies, and all three of us are gonna fucking get down. I'm having both of these beers. I was really surprised by that first beer. I really was.
Nice.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me not to take that one to bed alone because it was very, very well done. But this gigantic, super solid beer. So yeah, it's a threesome night. We're all gonna go to bed, happy, satisfied, and just slightly inebriated. So, how about you?
I really, really loved Badass Bunny with a Chainsaw.
Nice.
This time of year, an IPA is like not the beer that I want to go to, but this one matched my attitude tonight, and it really got the second half. I really loved how it just supported the second half of the show. So I'm going with that one. I did like the Creek; it was good. But it wasn't I could have drank that all night. One bottle. I would have loved to have shared that bottle with somebody. It wasn't good.
Oh.
I'm going to say one more time. It wasn't great for drinking a full 750 milliliter bottle. One glass would have been fine, but not a full bottle like this. Not like a full wine bottle.
Yeah, I hear that. Hey, we have actually
Holy
exciting
shit.
development here. We have a second viewing from Hefe.
We didn't
so
think
we get to
this was
close
gonna
out the
happen.
show. Yeah, no, this is phenomenal. So Hefe, what's going on, man?
You guys are longer than you thought, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
that's been my whole life, dude. I think I'm not that long, and then some girls my
Suddenly,
God,
wow, that's really
I had
something.
no idea. I had no idea. What's going on, man? How's the night? Is it getting better, worse? What's
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. Can't complain.
That always makes me happy when you're having a good night, because fucking kick ass that you make time for us, because I know you don't have a lot of personal time to yourself, and we still get your graces every week, so it's awesome.
Well, I mean, and it's good when I'm having a good night because you guys are always having a good night on Saturdays, so might as well make it 3 for 3.
That's right. And we love threesomes,
Agreed.
and that's all that matters.
Right?
Yeah,
Those threesomes would be really cool.
We've had quite a discussion on threesomes tonight.
Yes, we have. Hey, Hefe, you've got a smattering of children. I want to make sure that you have the ability to search their rooms when you need to. Are you ready?
Okay.
With the
What do I
mayor
need
of
to
New
do?
York. No. Oh, dude. It's oh yeah, this is it right here. Do you see this? So Eric Adams, he teaches. What was he saying? They're teaching kids how to.
They're teaching parents how to search your kid's room to find drugs and gun stuff.
Get it? You see this, dude?
You can look at a jewelry box. A jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know
They
what
have
your
this
child
music?
may be hiding. For instance, a gun.
That's from the
Look
state
at
of New
picture
York.
frames
The
behind
fucking
them.
government was like,
Cameras.
make it scary as fuck.
Hold on. Start it over. Dude.
Why'd they do
Yeah,
this?
that music is crazy.
You're
It's
gonna
like
scare the fuck out of these people.
it's like it almost seems like a like the story before Castlevania starts, on a video game.
Jewelry box. A jewelry box.
Yeah, this is the opening menu.
Maybe a simple
Yeah.
jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun. Look at picture frames behind them, cameras. Try to determine what's taking place. Behind a picture frame, you can find bullets. You should always, when your child
This
brings
is a
in
video
this
game. That's
popular
where you find
knapsack,
bullets in video games.
Look through it to see.
Look through his
what
knapsack. You might find a
exactly
grenade.
your child carrying,
Wait.
in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe. Something simple as a baby doll.
What grade is the
Just
kid?
A baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs.
Secrete. You can secrete.
Bro, this is the mayor.
That's unusual. Like a pillow like this with a button is a perfect invitation to hide something. I felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is. Just look
No, dude.
Bro, you guys have got to stop it, man. You guys have to see this. I mean, it's just, that's unbelievable. Look at this. Where's the cocaine at?
High cocaine. You can look in the jewelry box. A jewelry box
Hold on, I like it.
more than just books.
Go back to jewelry
It
box.
is. Just look and see what's inside your bookcases. It can
Dude,
be
it's
more than
like-
just books.
This is like Black Clue. I feel like.
Call me fucking Colonel Mustard.
Look behind this picture of your cousin. What's that? An 8-ball, some suppositories. He's like, oh, look in this baby doll. What's in there? A shank. A picture of Andy Dufresne.
Right. That's a good kid. I mean, he's got guns and a printer.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nice room.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look under that Nintendo Switch. Oh, what's that? Bam. It's a 12 gauge and some tramadol now and laters.
He's got a lot of guns, dude.
That's the mayor of New York.
Yeah, they put that out as a PSA.
That's the mayor of New York. How the fuck does this happen?
You look in the jewelry box. What could be in there? A gun. That's a phenomenal video.
Oh, I've got a pillow. I unhook the button. I feel something bumpy. It's a 38. Okay.
Hey, look behind this photo of my cousins. What do we got? Bullets.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
You know what? I've got boys, and there's God forbid I ever go through the room looking for this kind of stuff, because I don't. Maybe I'm naive, but Mayor Adams has absolutely no idea where kids are going to stick anything. Kids are way fucking smarter than that fuck.
Yeah. So, Hefe, I guess the question stands. When was the last 12 gauge you found in your kid's room?
Where do I start?
Yeah, exactly. Because they all have one, right? Even the young one.
Oh, she has
got a
brass
12 gauge.
She goes.
Yeah.
She's brutal.
Yeah.
She loves the taste of blood. It's crazy.
Brass knuckles, the whole nine. Nunchucks.
Which one of them was using ether to knock out their victims?
Oh my gosh, that was my younger son. He's a evil genius.
Found the bottle of ether. Like, what do you do with this, son? Raping people. I'm Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I confronted him.
It's your
Like,
hero.
What is this? And he just gave me that look. I was like, no, it's okay, son.
Dad, you know what this is.
I'm gonna
Stop.
step out of the room. Yeah.
You know what I'm doing here. Let's move on. Here, we'll play some Madden.
Yeah, they kicked my ass.
I can't play my kids in anything because they crush me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to let them win because they have all the guns.
Oh, there is that. Hefe, how did you do betting this week? You've been on a little bit of a heater, right?
Yeah, it was. It's cooled off a bit. I had a nice one lined up today. 20 would have paid 860, but Edmonton and Calgary, I think, they forgot to score goals. So
those fuckers.
Had the over 6.5, and it's 2-1 with 30 seconds to go. So I'm gonna count that one out. But no, it's been I've had that one nice string for a few days. Just kind of cruise on that for a while.
Well, that's cool. That's fucking rad.
And we should mention that there's been a prediction by a few local news stations that they basically said, here's the people that are going to be performing at the halftime show for the Super Bowl. That's going to be the 49ers against, who was it?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah, the Ravens. So
here's the thing,
so
though. Like,
yeah.
like we can call it conspiracy and all that, but I hope that they just needed to fill that space with two teams, and they picked the two number one seeds, and they're actually both favored to get there. So if they get there, it's not going to be like a shock. But
well, okay,
they both won today.
I mean,
yeah, they did.
I used to remember the days when you didn't know who the fuck was in the Super Bowl until they played the Super Bowl.
Right. Right.
And so you shouldn't be saying these are the halftime acts for the Super Bowl with this team versus that team. That's not how it works. You should say for Super Bowl, 69 or whatever number it is. I don't know why I picked that number.
Because you're
call me.
I do.
Message me. I have PMs open. But I'm just, why would you say the teams then?
Hey, speaking of predictions, though, mine's still alive. You got that audio ready, Steve, or no?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Well, yeah, Buffalo over Tampa Bay. Mark it down.
If that happens, dude, I mean, I'm definitely taking you to Vegas, and you're gonna win us all $1 million.
Yep.
Well, don't anybody go back and listen to last week's show because not allowed. The prediction was Buffalo over Tampa Bay.
That's been banned. It's been banned.
Oh shit.
I guess I'm gonna go back to work.
All right.
Yeah, we need to wrap up this dumpster fire.
Yep. All right. We'll see you, Hefe.
Yeah.
All right, Hefe. Have a good night, man.
Thanks.
All right. That is going to wind things up. Get a hold of us at whiskey_hell on X. Whiskey Hell Pod on Instagram. WhiskeyHellPod.com is going to be the website. There's tons of ways to get a hold of us. If you search Whiskey Hell Podcast, you're going to find us. It doesn't matter what search engine you look for. I'm Steve McShane.
I'm Fitz. We love every one of you. Thanks for everyone in chat tonight. It was awesome.
Think critically.
Act accordingly.
We'll talk to you soon.